Hello and good morning students. Once again, nice to see you in today's English grammar lecture. Today's lecture is going to be the second QRL quick revision lecture for chapter number 16, 17, 18 and 19. Earlier we discussed about chapters 12, 13, 14 and 15 in the QRL 1. So we will be discussing, revising and understanding the topics participle and gerunds, one of the types of verbs, just like we learnt about infinitives in the last QRL, followed by the topic given to us on page number 142, that is if conditional clauses, one of the most integral and important topics that one needs to understand. Chapter number 18 is about the active and passive voice that we had recently learned in the classroom. We had put our hands on how to form the active and passive voice, and in the video lectures you learned about the chapter number 19, that is reported speech. Well, some part of this was done in the presence in the class and some part was learned by you in the video lectures. Well, so without further ado, let's look into the 16th chapter on page 132 and read from the you know section followed by the less learned section to understand better about it. Well, we learned about the different forms of verbs, of which participles and gerunds are one of the verb forms, we can say. As you can see, verbs have many forms: infinitives, present participle, the past form and the past participle form. So verbs can also be gerunds, but I don't mean to say like gerunds are actually verbs. No, gerunds look like verbs, they are not really verbs. That is what we learned earlier also. So gerunds play a unique role which appear to us as a verb, but basically it is not a verb, but they look like a verb. So let's read more about it. As we know that infinitives can be formed with the help of applying the preposition to with the base form of the verb: to sleep, to eat, to drink, to laugh, and n number of infinitives can be created like this by adding the preposition to or to along with the base form. So that's a verb form. Present participle, as we know, the ing form of the verb that is utilized to create tenses, isn't it, to show about the action. Similarly, we have the past form to indicate that action has been completed in the past time, and we have the past participle form as well, which is utilized in the formation of the perfect tenses. Well, so these are the four forms of the verbs. To know more about or revise about the gerund is a verb ending in ing. So what is being told to us? It's a verb ending in ing, which functions as a noun. It means it's not really a verb, unlike the verbs that we've learned. No doubt, it appears to us as a verb. It is a verb in one sense, but it does not play the function of a verb in a sentence. It does not show any kind of action over there. Perhaps it shows the function of a noun. So very clearly it's mentioned the gerund is a verb ending in ing. So you see, it is looking alike the present participle, the ing form of the verb, but it plays the role of a noun in a sentence. Well, moreover, it may be the subject. So when we talk about a sentence can contain a subject part, a predicate part, isn't it? A sentence is made of two basic parts, subject and predicate. So the noun part is called the subject part. Therefore, we can say that noun could be a subject. That noun which we are referring to as a gerund, looking like a verb, the ing form of the verb, could be a complement. Well, you must be knowing what is a complement, isn't it? Object of a sentence or the object of a preposition. So it could play any of these four roles in a sentence, and it is nothing but a gerund. Well, we have example for each one of them. Earlier also you learned about in the previous class. Swimming is a good exercise, or swimming is good exercise. So here you see the word swimming. It appears to us as an ing form of the verb, but acknowledge this, that this is not a verb. It is not playing the role of an action over here. Perhaps it is playing the role of a noun over here. And what is this noun? Where is this noun placed? This noun is placed or is comprised of the subject part of the sentence. So the entire sentence where the word swimming is written is the subject part, and it is also a noun. It is a noun because it is the name of an exercise. Here we are not saying that swimming is some action over here. Very well it can be understood if you read it carefully once or twice. Swimming is good exercise. What I would be saying, swimming is a good exercise. So swimming over here is depicting or telling us the name of an exercise. Therefore, it is not a verb. It appears to us as a verb, but it is a noun over here, and it is playing the role of a subject over here because it is comprising the subject part of the sentence. Next example, if you analyze, teach me swimming. So somebody is telling you, or you are telling to someone, teach me swimming. Someone is asking to be taught an exercise over here, an activity over here, a name of something over here. So here swimming is not playing the role of a verb. Teach me what? Teach me swimming. So again it is nothing but a noun, but this time the noun swimming is not falling in the subject part. You can see, teach me swimming. Or if you take this as an imperative sentence, you will be requiring to add over here a subject. You teach me swimming. So you see, you is the subject followed by the predicate part, teach me swimming, but teach is the verb. So we have understood earlier in the lower classes that the part of the sentence which contains a verb and the complement or the other words in a sentence, it's called the predicate part. So here in the predicate part, teach me swimming, this entire part is a predicate part in which we have acknowledged a word swimming, a name of an exercise. But this name of an exercise is not mentioned in the subject part, perhaps it is in the predicate part. Therefore, a noun which appears to us in the predicate part is referred to as an object and not just a noun. Well, this is not a subject, this is a object over here. Well, so once again you can see, swimming, it is an ing form of the verb, looking like a verb but playing the role of a noun in the predicate part. Hence we say object of the sentence. Next example you see, seeing is believing. So here we have the word seeing is believing. So two places we have the ing verb. In the earlier class we had a similar sentence where the explanation was given in a more elaborated manner. So I will just try to recall that for you. Seeing is believing. So you see the word seeing, it is in the subject part. So here we can say the word seeing is subject, but at the moment we are concerned about the word believing. So is believing. So if you happen to see that word over there, after the verb is believing the predicate part, where is the main verb followed by another ing word. So this ing word is playing the role of the complement of the main verb is. Therefore, we will refer to this as complement of the verb. Hence, I can say complement, or in simple terms, complement. Next we have, he is fond of swimming. Now be very careful and observant over here. He is the subject part, is fond of swimming is the predicate part. In the predicate part, where do you find? You find the word swimming once again, just like we had in the previous two sentences or the first and second sentence. Swimming is good exercise, teach me swimming. So once again we have the word swimming, but this time the word swimming is associated or is followed after or comes after a particular word, that is of. Of is a preposition over here. So the entire part, this predicate part that you see, he is fond of swimming. So the word of, which is a preposition, followed by the word swimming, hence we can say it is an object, but object of what? Not object of the entire sentence, but this time it is the object of the preposition that we have written over here, that is of. Hence, we can very well understand that a gerund is a verb ending in ing, no doubts, but it does not play the role of a verb in a sentence. It does not show any action over here. Perhaps it shows one of the four functions over here. It could be a noun, subject, it could be a complement, it could be the noun in the predicate part referred to as object of a sentence, or it could be object of a preposition referred in the predicate part. So I hope this is now well revised by you. Well, further we can say that gerunds may also be used adverbially. Now what is adverbially? Well, we all know what is an adverb. A word which describes or tells us something more about a verb is called an adverb. Isn't it a simple term that we learned in the earlier class? So here, when an ing word is we discussed about the ing word, a gerund, isn't it, which plays the role of a noun, complement, object of a sentence or object of a preposition. When this word is used to describe another verb, yes, it's used to describe another verb, we say that the ing verb is describing that main verb. Therefore, it plays the role of an adverb in that sentence. Hence, it is said adverbially. So let us see how does this happen. We are going shopping, fishing, riding, swimming, visiting friends, etc. Isn't it? So we are going, one at a time we will see, we are going shopping, full stop. My sentence is complete. We are going shopping. So you see the entire sentence that I just read out to you. We, subject part, are going shopping, the predicate part. In the predicate part we have the auxiliary verb are followed by the ing verb going, the main verb, utilizing or making the tense of the present continuous. But we have one more word after that, that is shopping. So do you think the word shopping is a verb over here? No, the word shopping is not a verb over here. It looks like a verb, ing form, shop plus ing, shopping, the action, but it has been used along with the main verb, that is after ing. Therefore, when we write a sentence in this manner, where we have the ing word describing another ing word over here, as you see, we are going shopping. Therefore, here the word shopping is not playing the role of a verb, perhaps it is playing the role of a gerund, but in a unique manner, unlike what we learned as the object of a sentence, as a subject, as a complement, as the object of a preposition. No, it's not playing this role over here. It's playing the role of describing the ing word going. So we are going shopping. Shopping is playing the role of an adverb. Hence we say or acknowledge this adverbially. So I hope this is now clear to you. It was a very simple thing. Further we have adjectives and verbs. Adjectives and verbs which are always used in combination with a preposition. So many a times when we speak, when we write sentences, we come across a combination of the two things, that is adjective followed by a preposition, a verb followed by a preposition. Let us see how. Like the word fond of, like the word interested in, like the word object to, and there could be more like this, isn't it? So when we make use of the words fond of, interested in, object to and similar words where we have an adjective followed by a preposition, so it's a combination of the two things. What is to be taken care of? It must be followed by a gerund and not an infinitive. So generally or sometimes it happens that mistakenly people write infinitive instead of writing gerund, the ing word. Let us see how. She is fond to play cards. So she is fond of, playing cards. So the word playing has been utilized over here, as you can very well see in your text. She is fond of. Now instead of writing playing over here, mistakenly or knowingly, if I write over there, to play, that would be incorrect usage over here. I shouldn't be writing this. She is fond of to play cards. Well, even when you say this, logically or your discrete intelligence will not allow you to apply this knowledge over here. She is fond of what? Playing cards. So here the word playing is not an action doing word, it is playing the role of a gerund over here. So gerund is used after a combination of adjective and preposition or verb and preposition. Fond of playing. Similarly, the next one you see, he is addicted to swimming. He is addicted to smoking. Beg your pardon. He is addicted to smoking. So the word smoking, the ing word has been applied over here after the combination word, that is addicted to. And I don't write he is addicted to, and can I again write smoke over here? He is addicted to smoke? No. He is addicted to smoking. Well, he is interested in helping his friends. He is interested in. So see, we have used the word interested in followed by the word helping, the ing word, and not to help. Finally, we have I object to. So object to is the combination word over here followed by the ing word doing, and not to say I object to do it. No, that would be incorrect way of writing. Well, so this was all about the you know section that we acknowledged about the gerunds, which you have probably learned in the earlier class as well. Moving on to the next page, page 133, we have got the Let's Learn section, which will give us some more information about the present participle, the past participle, and probably a new participle that you are going to learn this year, which you have not learned last year. So well, we are just revising so that it's well understood by you. The following are examples of present participles which end in the ing. Well, we learned just in the previous page about the verb forms where we learned the present participle. So we have examples to understand what present participles are. A present participle represents an action as going on or incomplete or imperfect. So you see, it represents these three actions over here. When you use the ing word in a sentence, so it could be symbolizing, it could be expressing, it could be representing any of these three actions. The action could be going on at the time of speaking, well generally that is understood when we use the present participle. For the continuous tenses, well, it could be an incomplete action that you are saying. Naturally, if something is going on, it is incomplete, it is not completed. Or we can say it is imperfect. So any of these three ideas can be expressed or represented when a present participle is used in a sentence. Let us see. We met a girl carrying a pot of milk on her head. So you see the word carrying has been used over here. So the action in continuation, isn't it? Hearing the noise, the child woke up. So we are saying over here, hearing the noise, the child woke up. So once again, hearing has been used as a present participle phrase over here to combine the sentence. Next, the boy, thinking all was safe, tried to cross the road. So in all these three examples, you will find either the action going on, or an incomplete action, or an imperfect action. Well, next we have the past participle. So this is not something new that you are learning, although it's given to the Let's Learn section, but you've learned about past participle earlier as well. Let's see the example. Deceived by his friend, he lost all hope. So you see the word deceived? It is the third form of the word deceive. Deceive, deceived, and again deceived. So deceived by his best friend, he lost all hope. So this is how the past participle has been used in the passive voice. So remember, this is the sentence in the passive voice. Driven by hunger, the man stole a loaf of bread. So once again we have a sentence utilizing the past participle right in the beginning of the sentence, and this is also a passive voice form of the sentence. Driven by hunger, the man stole a loaf of bread. Next we have, we saw some trees laden with fruits. Well, this is not a sentence in the passive voice. You can very well see the doer of the action is given prominence, importance. We are the doer of the action. We saw some trees laden with fruits. So laden is the past participle form of the verb over here. We saw some trees laden with fruits. So all the three sentences that I just read contain a past participle, of which the first two are in the passive voice, whereas the third one is in the active voice. Well, you've learned about the active and passive, and we will be discussing soon. Next we have the next important and probably the new kind of participle to be discussed, although you learned in the regular lectures about this. Besides the present and past participle, there is a third participle that is called the perfect participle, and that represents an action as completed at some point of time in the past. So an action that got completed but not now, at some point of time in the past. Now how is this created? Let us see and try to make it very simple. Having lost our way, we stopped to ask for the direction. So I am not talking about the current time. I am saying this action happened sometimes in the past, and that is the time when we took this decision. Having lost our way. So we had lost our way some time ago in the past time, and therefore we had to stop and ask for directions to someone. But I am just talking about this incident in the current time. So have a look at the formation over here. Having lost. So this should be now very clear to you. Having lost, we have the present participle followed by the past participle. So having lost our way, we stop to ask for direction. This is how the perfect participle is created, along with the present participle followed by the past participle. So the present participle and past participle both are utilized together. Having done, once again you see, having is the ing form of the verb, have plus ing, followed by the past participle of do, that is do, did and done. So when the two things are combined, used together to create a sentence, such a structure is referred to as the perfect participle. So having done our homework, we went out to play. Well, the meaning is given to you very clearly, an action as completed at some point of time in the past. But how does it look like? That I just explained to you, isn't it? Well, moving on to the next thing. Participles can be used to join pairs of sentences together. So that is one of the important roles of a participle. Well, as you see, we saw some children, one sentence, followed by the next sentence, they were playing with fireworks. Now when I want to combine this, I will be able to use a suitable participle over here, a present participle over here, which can join the two sentences, just like we join sentences with infinitives, we join sentences with conjunctions. Similarly, we can join sentences with participles also. Have a look. We saw some children, they were playing with fireworks. So I am just eliminating the word they and were and utilizing the ing word already given to me in the second part of the question or the sentence over there. We saw some children, utilizing the words playing with fireworks and combining it together will satisfy my requirement of joining the sentence. Hence, the final sentence is we saw some children playing with fireworks. It's a very simple thing to do, utilizing the ing given to us. But if you have a look at the second sentence given to you, you will find that there is no ing given to you, unlike the first sentence. Then what is to be done? I was hungry, the first sentence. I made myself a sandwich. But none of the sentences is carrying an ing form of the verb, unlike the previous example. So in such a situation, when you want to join, you will change the auxiliary verb that is given to you, one of the members of the be family that you will find over there. I made myself a sandwich. As you see in the first sentence, I was hungry. I made myself a sandwich, isn't it? So in the first sentence, you will rightfully find over there the word was, which is the member of the be family. Now when I want to join the two sentences, I will be changing it into its ing form. So who is the principal or the main verb of the be family? The word be itself, isn't it? So I will simply be adding the ing into it and creating the word being over here. You are well acknowledged about the word being, isn't it? So was will be replaced with the word being, and that is how you start your sentence. Being hungry. Have a careful observation. I was hungry, where I am eliminating the subject and I am changing the word was into its ing form of the main verb be, because was is one of the members of the be family. Therefore, be is also a verb. And when I use the main head or the word be with its ing form as a participle, present participle, it will become being, isn't it? Very clear to you now. Being hungry, but I need to apply a comma because that is the dependent clause. Being hungry, I made myself a sandwich. So this is how you join the two sentences where the ing is not given to us, by changing the auxiliary verb, which is one of the members of the be family. It could be is, are, am, was, were, whatever given to you in the particular sentence, into its head of the family, that is the principal verb, that is be plus ing. Therefore, being hungry, I made myself a sandwich. Now, I hope this is clear how to use the word being in order to join the two sentences when the ing is not given. Well, we have the next sentence. The magician took pity on the mouse. He turned it into a cat. Now, this is an example where none of the previous two examples satisfy. That is, we don't have the ing given to us, neither we have the member of the be family, is, are, am, was, were. Have a careful look. The magician took pity on the mouse. Well, we don't find any ing word over here, nor do we find any was, were, that is the member of the be family. There are no member of the be family. And in the second sentence, he turned it into a cat. Here too, we don't find any ing verb, nor do we find any member of the be family. Now what is to be done? When you want to join such a sentence, you have to look up for the main verb and then change it into the ing form, that is the present participle form. So as I read the sentence, go through it. The magician took pity on the mouse. So I can very well see the word took over there, given to me in the simple past over here, which I will be now changing into the ing form. Taking pity on the mouse, comma, the magician turned it into a cat. So these are the three ways of changing or joining sentences utilizing participles. The present participle, the ing form. Either you will be given to you, either it is given to you in the sentence, so it's very easy. If it is not given, and instead of that, a member of the be family is given to you, to utilize the word be as being, or if none of these two things are given to you, then look up for the main verb and transform it into the ing form and utilize it in the sentence. So this is how we write or join the sentences with participles. This was about the 16th chapter. Moving on to the next one, the important one, 17, if conditionals. Well, you learnt about this in details in the main lectures, the regular lectures. We'll quickly go through the you know and the let's learn section, and along with this I will discuss the pattern of the conditional sentences at a glance after showing you an image. Well, first let us read from the you know section quickly. Clauses are groups of words that have a subject and a verb and convey an incomplete or a complete thought or idea. That's the most important thing to acknowledge. Example, who came here later, since you say so, and she is tall. It could be a complete expression or an incomplete expression. Well, that is one thing. Clauses may be principal clauses or dependent clauses. You learnt about this in class 7 also on the regular lectures, isn't it? Well, the principal clause or the main clause contains the main verb or the sentence and shows the time of action of the sentence. This clause can stand on its own. It has its own meaning. It satisfies its meaning by itself. The principal clause, the main clause, the independent clause, and does not require anything else to make the meaning or make the sense complete or complete its sense. As you see, men may come, they are tall, he is walking, are all examples of such clauses which do not require any kind of other words to complete its meaning. Hence we say they are principal clauses. Whereas the dependent or subordinate clause contain a subject and a verb but cannot make complete sense by itself, nor can it show the time of action or tense of the sentence. As given to example, we all know that God helps those who help themselves. Now, out of this entire sentence, if it is extracted, we all know principal clause, a complete meaning, gives tense of the sentence. The tense is given to us. But when I speak the sentence, when I separate the sentence, that God helps those, only this much, that God helps those. It is a dependent clause. Without utilizing the previous sentence or the words in the previous sentence, that is the main clause, the meaning of these words would not be clear. So it's an incomplete meaning. Similarly, the following phrase you see, who help themselves, is also a dependent clause. So there are two clauses over here which are dependent clauses on the principal clause. So when I put all the three things together, that is the main clause followed by the two dependent clauses, then the meaning of the sentence is clear. No doubt, the independent sentence can be spoken. We all know is a complete clause. But the following two clauses, that is that God helps those and who help themselves, cannot stand alone by themselves and bring out its meaning. Therefore, they are referred to as dependent clauses, or we say they are having incomplete meaning. Well, every sentence has at least one main clause. Subordinate or the dependent clauses may or may not exist in a sentence, or there could be more than one, isn't it, that we just saw in the previous example. So when a sentence is written, it will have a main clause. I am saying about sentence. So a sentence must have a main clause. So it may or may not have a subordinate clause. As we saw in the example sentence given to us, men may come, they are tall and he is walking. We don't have any subordinate clauses over here. Well, alternatively, they can have one subordinate clause or more than one subordinate clauses as well. But yes, they will have one main clause. So this was about the understanding about different clauses. Let's come to the let's learn section, where we need to understand that when we write these clauses, with conditionals, utilizing the word if. That is the title of our chapter, if conditional clauses. Isn't it? Many a times when we speak, we make use of the word if in our speech, in our saying, in our writing. Well, so if is a condition. The word if itself is a condition. It is also a subordinate clause. So, we just understood about the clauses, the main clause, the independent clause, followed by the dependent clause, the subordinate clause. Here is the place where we utilize this word if as conditional. Let us see. There are three types of conditionals as given to you in our text, but alternatively we learned that there are altogether four types of conditionals, isn't it? In the regular lectures also I explained about this. So you've been given, there are three types of conditionals. We'll go through this quickly and try to understand from the text. Alternatively, we will learn about the structure, but is probably not given to you in your text, which I had helped you with, and I will help you once again with this. There are three types of conditions. Type 1 or open condition, a condition that may or may not be fulfilled. This is structured as if this happens, that will happen. Well, you have examples, you can go through this. I will not be going through the examples. Second condition is type 2 or unlikely condition, a condition that is possible but likely to be fulfilled. This is structured as if this thing happened, that thing would happen, but I am not sure if it ever will happen. So a condition showing unlikeliness. Third one, an unreal imaginary condition referred to as unreal past and its probable past result, an imaginary condition that cannot be true. So something that cannot be true, an unreal condition. Clear? So these are the three conditions given to you, followed by you can see the conditions inversion of the subject and finite verb, where we are inversing the two things, an inversion. Were she to see you, she would be surprised. The only thing is the inversion over here. In an inverted form we have written. That is, we are writing the main clause first, followed by the subordinate clause, that is the if conditional. If you happen to see the examples in the previous three types, you will find that in all these places you had the if conditional first, that is the dependent clause, followed by the main clause. So this part is just trying to explain that it can be inverted, that is, we can write the main clause first, followed by the dependent clause. As you see in the example, were she to see you, comma, she would be surprised. But here we are not going to write this comma, because we are going to directly write were she to see you, she would be surprised. So instead of that we can write if she were to see you, comma, here is the place where we are going to apply the comma. If she were to see you, she would be surprised. So this is how we can write. More example. Were I alone, comma, I should be afraid to go. So it means if I were alone, I should be afraid to go. Well, further you have conditions implying fortuitous circumstances. So acknowledge the word fortuitous, a futuristic action, an action happening in the future. If you should happen to, so the happen to is the understanding given to us. If you should meet him, tell him all about it. So what is being told, what is the message being conveyed over here, that if you happen to meet him, that is, when are you going to happen? In the future, isn't it? So we are laying down a futuristic condition over, a fortuitous condition over here, something that is indicating future. So if you should happen to meet him, or if you should meet him, tell him all about this, what I have told you. Well, more examples have been given to you. You can go through it about the fortuitous circumstances. So this was about the three types of conditionals and the two important things about the inversion of the subject and finite verb, and secondly about the futuristic condition or the futuristic circumstances over here. But yes, we have one more condition, that is the type 0 condition, where we have got the simple present and the simple present in the dependent as well as the independent clauses. For this, you need to go through the pattern of conditional sentences at a glance that is being displayed to you on your screen. Have a look at it carefully. The type, form, use and example have been shown to you. Type 0 says if or when you do A, the result is B. and its uses to describe the general truths or scientific facts. An example, if you heat wax, it melts. Yes, isn't it? So you can see over there for yourself that if you heat wax, it melts. So we have the verb heat over here, which is in the simple present, followed by if you heat wax, comma, what happens? It melts. So it melts is also simple present. So if you light a cracker, it bursts. So two examples given to you for type 0 over here. Well, the structure we learnt about this, isn't it earlier? Simple present plus simple present. Well, the next type you see, type 1, the likely condition, the things that are possible to happen. If you do A, the result will or might or could be B. So we have will, might or could be B. It is used to describe something which is likely to happen, a real situation. Similarly, if this is going to happen, the other thing is naturally going to happen. Let's see example. If you discuss the matter with him, he will clarify your doubts, or he might clarify your doubts, or he could clarify your doubts. So generally we write the word will over here. So we have the structure, that is simple present followed by the future word will. If you write to him, he will, might or could reply. The next condition you see, type 2, unlikely condition. If you did A, the result would, might or could be B. It is used to describe something unlikely to happen or to describe an unreal situation. So this is just the opposite of the type 1. In type 1 we said real, here we are saying unreal. If she saw a monster, she would scream, she might scream or she would scream. If she were like you, she would fight the dacoits all alone. Well, it's unreal, isn't it? We are talking about unrealistic situation. So if she were like you, well, she can never be like you, and therefore she can never fight the dacoits alone. So an unrealistic thing is being discussed over here. The fourth one, that is type 3, impossible, something that is not possible to happen. If you had done A, it would, could, might have resulted in B. To describe a condition that is not possible to be fulfilled because the time has elapsed. It is not possible. What are you saying? If Rita had applied for the job, now the time for applying is over. She would have got it. So something that is not possible now. We are talking about a impossible situation. If she had applied, have a look at the structure over here. We are using had applied over here. For the job, she would have got it. So we learnt about the structure earlier in the regular videos. The final example, if you had seen that snake in the garden, you would have fainted. So if you would have seen the snake in the garden, you would have fainted. So these were the patterns of conditional sentences, its type and uses at a glance. Well, let's move to the next chapter given to us, that is active and passive voice, which we have recently learned. We've discussed about this in the class also, last when we met. We can change the active voice into the passive voice by making the object in the active voice the subject in the passive voice, isn't it? We discussed about this and a number of sentences have been given to you. Well, we very well know that when a transitive verb has two objects, either the direct or the indirect object may become the subject of the sentence in the passive. Further, the examples have been given to you. You can go through this. We have discussed about this in details when we met last time. The active voice is used when the agent, that is the doer of the action, is to be made prominent. The passive voice is used when the person or the thing acted upon is to be made prominent. That's the general idea what we have acknowledged. Finally, the passive voice is generally used when the doer of the action is unknown, unimportant. It is vague, that is somebody, they, people, we, etc. When we are not sure about who the person is. Well, in such cases, the agent with by is usually omitted as shown in the sentences to you on the next page. As you see, we discussed about this also in the class earlier. So this was about the basic understanding in the you know section, which is a part of revision, that you should be knowing what active and passive is. So generally speaking, when you transform an active into passive, we are giving more importance to the receiver of the action rather than the doer of the action. Well, in the let's learn section, we understood about the imperative sentences, that when imperative sentences needs to be changed from its active to passive, certain rules need to be applied, which have been given to you at a glance. You can see over there. For changing these sentences to passive, auxiliary verb be is used. So one thing to remember, the word let is added before the subject in the passive voice, very important. Auxiliary verbs be, eb is added after the object in the sentence in the passive voice. Remember this. Main verb, the base form of the verb of an imperative sentence is changed to the third form, that is the past participle form. Well, these were the rules that we have earlier discussed, and once again I am just revising with you for a recapitulation. Well, you have sentences for the active and passive given in the chart. You can probably go through it and acknowledge more about this. So this was a quick recall of a revision of the chapter. Finally, we have the reported speech, where we change the exact words spoken by the speaker into the message that he wants to convey in its own words, probably not changing the context or the content of the thing. So direct speech reports the exact words of the speaker. In indirect or reported speech, we report what the speaker has said without quoting the exact word. The same words are not utilized by the speaker when he is reporting something. So he just tells this, he just says this in his own words by maintaining certain rules. The rules, as you see, rules for changing the direct into indirect have been given to you. Very important rules. You should go through this with the passage of time. Subject changes nouns to pronouns. Verb tense changes. The entire chart has been given to you. How does this happen? If the verb tense in the quoted speech is in the simple present, it changes to simple past. I am talking about the quoted speech. When you change the direct into indirect, and this happens when the reporting verb is in the simple past. If the reporting verb is in the simple present or future, then the verb tense in the quoted speech does not change, remains the same, no doubt. The other things change over, that is the subject changes, the pronouns changes, but the verb tense does not change if the reporting verb is in the simple present or simple future. But yes, if it is in the simple past, then the verb tense in the quoted speech, that is the words in the open and close quotations, the tense will definitely change. So the rule has been given to you. Simple present changes to simple past. Similarly, if it is already in the simple past, then it changes into the past perfect. Present continuous changes to past continuous. Present perfect changes to past perfect. Similarly, we have the modal auxiliary verbs, the helping verbs can, shall, will and may. They respectively change to could, would or should depending on the context. Remember, it is upon the context where we are going to use would or should. Will definitely change to would, and may will definitely change to might. Something very important to remember. On the following page 157, you have words of distance or nearness and time. Well, I can use one more word over here, proximity, nearness. So words showing proximity, words showing distance or nearness and time, they are definitely changed into the structure given to you from the direct to the indirect. Well, if the direct speech uses this or these, then when reporting to someone, when a reported speech is used, the words that and those needs to be used over here. Similarly, a number of words have been given to you. I will just discuss the last few over here. Last Tuesday, week, year, etc. That is last Tuesday, last week, last year needs to be changed into two different ways. The Tuesday before, the week before, the year before, the month before, and any such thing that you are using in the indirect speech. Well, if you come across the words like 2 days, 1 week, 3 years, 1 month or something like that, ago, that is before. So we will have to use the word either earlier or ago once again. 2 days earlier, 1 week earlier, 3 years earlier, 1 month earlier, or alternatively you can write ago. So this is also a very important structure that you need to remember and learn with the passage of time. Well, in the Let's Learn section, you've been given questions can be of two types. We discussed about this earlier, isn't it? We have questions which can be framed with the auxiliary verbs is, are, am, was, were, what we call as yes no type questions, or we can frame questions with the help of the WH questions, right? Words using the WH words, who, when, which, where, why, etc. So you've been given the understanding and the rules for reporting the question. How do you report? So you should go through these rules, very important rules given to you on the page. The reporting verb should be followed by the word if, and so on. Many rules are there. So I would highly advise you to go through the Let's Learn section very carefully, because if these rules are well acknowledged, you will definitely be able to perform the sentences. On the following page, all things related to the rules have been given to you. Well, I will not be reading the entire thing for you. As a part of quick revision, I will be discussing a few important things over here, and probably we have discussed this in the regular lecture when we met in the school. Well, on to the next page, you've been given the verb in the reported speech is put in the infinitive. Underneath that, you've got the necessary sentences given to you. You can go through this, where you find the sentences given to in the imperative form, isn't it? In reporting commands or requests in the indirect speech as well. In the previous topic of the previous page, we discussed about the interrogative sentences, how they can be changed into its indirect speech, isn't it? The rules that you will be reading over here from page 158 will be about changing direct into indirect when the sentences are in the declarative form or in the interrogative form. Well, on page 159, you have the understanding given to you about the imperative sentences, the command, order, advice, suggestion sentences. So you have a couple of examples and a number of rules to be acknowledged. Well, I'll read a few rules for you. When let in direct speech expresses a proposal or suggestion, we may use should and change the reporting verb to propose or suggested. So you will have to use a word over here, propose or suggested, when such a type of a sentence is coming across in the imperative. She said, let us have some music. You see the word let has been used over here. Let is giving us a suggestion over here. This is a sentence in the imperative form, but it is the direct speech. So when I change it into indirect speech, I will be using the word proposed. So accordingly, you should be able to apply the words over there. A set of words have been given to you for that. When reporting a wish or an exclamation in indirect, the introductory verb is changed to the words like wish, bless, pray, exclaim, and many more words have been given to you. So it is important for you to go through these entire things in a very careful and a dedicated manner. Well, this was all about the direct and indirect speech that I had to discuss with you, and probably the things that we came across in the quick revision lecture 2, the concluding one. So I hope the quick revision lecture has been helpful to you to understand the topics that I tried to explain to you. Well, this was all for the quick revision lecture 2. Take care, have a nice day.